Shalakaya Chakshuram Dilatam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We're taking up the reading of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita at Madhya chapter 15. Sarvabhauma Bhattacarya offers Prasadam. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly, liberal people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reactions and is so powerful that, save for the dumb who cannot chant it, it is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandala. The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. When a person simply chants the holy name with his tongue, immediate effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the Purusharya regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities. It is self-sufficient. This verse is found in Padyavali 29, an anthology of verses compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 111, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then finally advised, one who is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is understood to be a Vaishnava. Therefore, you should offer all respects to him. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami states, Krishneti yasa giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti che prantadibisha bhajantamisham. An advanced devotee should respect a person who has been initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and who is situated on the transcendental platform. Chanting the holy name with faith and obeisances and following the instructions of the spiritual master. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that serving Vaishnavas is most important for householders. Whether a Vaishnava is properly initiated or is not, whether a Vaishnava is properly initiated or not is not a subject for consideration. One may be initiated and yet contaminated by the Mayavad philosophy, but a person who chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly will not be so contaminated. A properly initiated Vaishnava may be imperfect, but one who chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly is all perfect. Although he may apparently be a neophyte, he still has to be considered a pure, unalloyed Vaishnava. It is the duty of the householder to offer respects to such an unalloyed Vaishnava. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then turned his attention to three persons, Mukunda Das, Raghunandana, and Sri Narhari, inhabitants of the place called Kanda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Shachi, next asked Mukunda Das, you are the father and your son is Raghunandana. Is that so? Or is Srila Raghunandana your father and you are his son? Please let me know the facts so that my doubts will go away. Mukunda replied, Raghunandana is my father and I am his son. This is my decision. All of us have attained devotion to Krishna due to Raghunandana. Therefore, in my mind, he is my father. Hearing Mukunda Das give this proper decision, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed it, saying, yes, it is correct. One who awakens devotion to Krishna is certainly the spiritual master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy just to speak of the glories of his devotees. Indeed, when he spoke of their glories, it was as if he had 5 faces. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then informed all his devotees, please hear about Mukunda's love of Godhead. It is a very deep and pure love and can only be compared to purified gold. Mukunda Das externally appears to be a royal physician engaged in governmental service, but internally he has a deep love for Krishna. Who can understand his love? Purport, unless Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discloses the fact, no one can understand who is actually a great devotee of the Lord engaged in his service. It is therefore said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 23:39, Tarbhakya kriya mudra vignaya na bhujai. Even the most perfect and learned scholar cannot understand a Vaishnava's activities. A Vaishnava may be engaged in governmental service or in a professional business, so that externally one cannot understand his position. Internally, however, he may be a Nityasiddha Vaishnava, that is, an eternally liberated Vaishnava. Externally, Mukunda Das was a royal physician, but internally he was the most liberated Paramahamsa devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this very well, but ordinary men could not understand it. For the activities and plans of a Vaishnava cannot be understood by ordinary men. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representative understand everything about a devotee, even though the devotee may externally pretend to be an ordinary householder and professional businessman. One day, Mukunda Das, the royal physician, was seated with the Muslim king on a high platform and was telling the king about medical treatment. While the king and Mukunda Das were conversing, a servant brought a fan made of peacock feathers to shade the king's head from the sun. Consequently, he held the fan above the king's head. Just by seeing the peacock feathered fan, Mukunda Das became absorbed in ecstatic love of Godhead and fell from the high platform onto the ground. The king, fearing that the royal physician had been killed, personally descended and brought him to consciousness. When the king asked Mukunda, "Where is it paining you?" Mukunda replied, "I'm not very much pained." The king then inquired, "Mukunda, why did you fall down?" Mukunda replied, "My dear king, I have a disease like epilepsy." Being extraordinarily intelligent, the king could understand the whole affair. In his estimation, Mukunda was a most uncommon, exalted, liberated personality. Raghunandana is constantly engaged in serving Lord Krishna in the temple. Beside the entrance of the temple is a lake, and on its banks is a kadamba tree, which daily delivers 2 flowers to be used for Krishna's service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again spoke to Mukunda with sweet words. Your duty is to earn both material and spiritual wealth. Furthermore, it is the duty of Raghunandana to always engage in Lord Krishna's service. He has no other intention but the service of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then ordered Narhari, I wish you to remain here with my devotees. In this way, the 3 of you should always execute these 3 duties for the service of the Lord. Purport: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set forth 3 duties for 3 different people. Mukunda was to earn money and follow the religious principles, whereas Narhari was to remain with the Lord's devotees, and Raghunandana was to engage in the Lord's service in the temple. Thus, one person worships in the temple, another earns money honestly by executing his professional duty, and yet another preaches Krishna consciousness with the devotees. Apparently, these 3 types of service appear separate, but actually they are not. When Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the center, everyone can engage in different activities for the service of the Lord. That is the verdict of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Out of his causeless mercy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the following directions to the brothers Sarvabhauma, Bhattacarya, and Vidya Vachaspati. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in this age of Kali, Krishna is manifest in 2 forms, wood and water. Therefore, by enabling the conditioned souls to see the wood and bathe in the water, he helps them become liberated. Lord Jagannath is the Supreme Lord himself in the form of wood, and the river Ganges is the Supreme Lord himself in the form of water. Purport: the Vedas enjoin Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. Everything is the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman or Param Brahman. Parasya Brahmana Shaktis Tatedam Akilam Jagat. Everything is a manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Brahman. Since the energy and the energetic are identical, actually everything is Krishna, Param Brahma. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord confirms this. Mayata tamidang sarvam jagadavyakta murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham te shavastita. By me and my unmanifest form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Krishna is spread throughout the whole universe in his impersonal form. Since everything is a manifestation of the Lord's energy, the Lord can manifest himself through any energy. In this age, the Lord is manifest through wood as Lord Jagannath, and he is manifest through water as the river Ganges. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered the two brothers, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Vidya Vachaspati, to worship Lord Jagannath and the river Ganges. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you should engage in the worship of Lord Jagannath Purushottam, and Vachaspati should worship Mother Ganges. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Murari Gupta and began to speak about his firm faith in devotional service. This was heard by all the devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, previously I induced Murari Gupta again and again to be allured by Lord Krishna. I said to him, my dear Gupta, Lord Sri Krishna, Vrajendra Kumar, is the supreme sweetness. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of all incarnations and the source of everything. He is pure transcendental love itself, and he is the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. He is like a mine of gems. He is expert at everything, very intelligent and sober, and he is the summit of all transcendental humors. His character is very sweet, and his pastimes are melodious. He is expert in intelligence, and thus he enjoys all his pastimes in mellows. I then requested Murari Gupta worship Krishna and take shelter of him, but for his service nothing appeals to the mind. In this way he heard from me again and again. By my influence his mind was a little converted. Murari Gupta then replied, I am your servant and your order carrier. I have no independent existence. After this, Murari Gupta went home and spent the whole night thinking how he would have to give up the association of Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra. Thus he was overwhelmed. Murari Gupta then began to pray at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. He prayed that death would come that night because it was not possible for him to give up the service of the lotus feet of Raghunath. Thus Murari Gupta cried the entire night. There was no rest for his mind. Therefore he could not sleep, but stayed awake the entire night. In the morning Murari Gupta came to see me. Catching hold of my feet and crying, he submitted an appeal. Murari Gupta said, I have sold my head unto the lotus feet of Raghunath. I cannot withdraw my head, for that would give me too much pain. It is not possible for me to give up the service of Raghunath's lotus feet. At the same time, if I do not do so, I shall break your order. What can I do? In this way, Murari Gupta appealed to me, saying, you are all merciful, so kindly grant me this mercy. Let me die before you, so that all my doubts will be finished. Hearing this, I became very happy. I then raised Murari Gupta and embraced him. I said to him, all glories to you, Murari Gupta. Your method of worship is very firmly fixed, so much so that even upon my request, your mind did not turn. The servitor must have love and affection for the lotus feet of the Lord exactly like this. Even if the Lord wants separation, a devotee cannot abandon the shelter of his lotus feet. The word Prabhu or master indicates that the Lord is to be continuously served by his devotee. The original Prabhu is the Lord, Sri Krishna. Nonetheless, there are many devotees attached to Lord Ramachandra, and Murari Gupta is a vivid example of such unalloyed devotion. He never agreed to give up Lord Ramachandra's worship, not even upon Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's request. Such is the chastity of devotional service, as stated in the Antya-lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. She bhakta dhanya je na chade prabhur charanam. She prabhu dhanya je na chade nija jana. Durdaive sevak jari jai anya stane She Thakur Dhanya Thare Chule Dhari Ane. In a firm relationship with the Lord, the devotee does not give up the Lord's service under any circumstance. As far as the Lord himself is concerned, if the devotee chooses to leave, the Lord brings him back again, dragging him by the hair. Just to test your firm faith in your Lord, I requested you again and again to change your worship from Lord Ramachandra to Krishna. In this way I congratulated Murari Gupta, saying, "Indeed, you are the incarnation of Hanuman. Consequently, you are the eternal servant of Lord Ramachandra. Why should you give up the worship of Lord Ramachandra and his lotus feet?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "I accept this Murari Gupta as my life and soul. When I hear of his humility, it perturbs my very life." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Vasudeva Datta and began to speak of his glories as if he had 1,000 mouths. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified him, Vasudeva Datta immediately became very much embarrassed and shy. He then submitted himself, touching the Lord's lotus feet. Vasudeva Datta told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "My dear Lord, you incarnate just to deliver all conditioned souls. I now have one petition which I wish you would accept. My Lord, you are certainly able to do whatever you like, and you are indeed merciful. If you desire, you can very easily do whatever you want. My Lord, my heart breaks to see the sufferings of all the conditioned souls. Therefore, I request you to transfer the karma of their sinful lives upon my head. My dear Lord, let me suffer perpetually in a hellish condition, accepting all the sinful reactions of all living entities. Please finish their distressed material life." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following commentary on this verse. In the Western countries, Christians believe that Lord Jesus Christ, their spiritual master, appeared in order to eradicate all the sins of his disciples. To this end, Lord Jesus Christ appeared and disappeared. Here, however, we find Sri Vasudeva Datta Thakur and Srila Haridas Thakur to be many millions of times more advanced even when compared with Lord Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ relieved only his followers from all sinful reactions. But Vasudeva Datta is here prepared to accept the sins of everyone in the universe. So the comparative position of Vasudeva Datta is millions of times better than that of Lord Jesus Christ. A Vaishnava is so liberal that he is prepared to risk everything to rescue the conditioned souls from material existence. Srila Vasudeva Datta Thakur is universal love itself, for he was willing to sacrifice everything and fully engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vasudeva Datta knew very well that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the original personality of Godhead, transcendence itself above the material conception of illusion and Maya. Lord Jesus Christ certainly finished the sinful reactions of his followers by his mercy, but that does not mean that he completely delivered them from the pangs of material existence. A person may be relieved from sins once, but it is a practice among Christians to confess sins and yet commit them again. By getting freed from sins and again engaging in them, one cannot attain freedom from the pangs of material existence. A diseased person may go to a physician for relief, but after he leaves the hospital, he may again be infected due to his unclean habits. Thus material existence continues. Srila Vasudeva Datta wanted to completely relieve the conditioned souls from material existence so that they would no longer have an opportunity to commit sinful acts. This is the significant difference between Srila Vasudeva Datta and Lord Jesus Christ. It is a great offense to receive pardon for sins and then commit the same sins again. Such an offense is more dangerous than the sinful activity itself. Vasudeva Datta was so liberal that he requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to transfer all offensive activity upon him so that the conditioned souls would be purified and go back home back to Godhead. This prayer was certainly without duplicity. Vasudeva Datta's example is unique not only within this world but within the universe. It is beyond the conception of fruitive actors or the speculation of mundane philosophers. Due to being illusioned by the external energy and due to a poor fund of knowledge, people tend to envy one another. Because of this, they are entangled in fruit of activity, and they try to escape this fruit of activity by mental speculation. Consequently, neither karmis nor gyanis are purified. In the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they are kukarmis and kugyanis, bad fruit of actors and bad speculators. The Mayavadis and karmis should therefore turn their attention to the magnanimous Vasudeva Dutt, who wanted to suffer for others in a hellish condition. No one should consider Vasudeva Dutt a mundane philanthropist or welfare worker. Nor was he interested in merging into the Brahman effulgence or in gaining material honor or reputation. He was far, far above philanthropists, philosophers, and fruit of actors. He was the most exalted personality to ever show mercy to the conditioned souls. This is not an exaggeration of his transcendental qualities. It is perfectly true. Actually, there cannot be any comparison to Vasudeva Dutt. As the perfect Vaishnava, he was paradhukkadukhi, very much aggrieved to see others suffer. The entire world is purified simply by the appearance of such a great devotee. Indeed, by his transcendental presence, the whole world is glorified and all conditioned souls are also glorified. As Narottam Das Thakur confirms, Vasudeva Dutt is the ideal devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurangera Shangegane Nitya Siddha Karimani She Jaya Rajendra Sutapash. One who executes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission must be considered eternally liberated. He is a transcendental person and does not belong to this material world. Such a devotee engaging in the deliverance of the total population is as magnanimous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnai Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha. Such personality factually represents Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because his heart is always filled with compassion for all conditioned souls. Where's Mathura Kripa? Is he okay? Please sit. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Vasudeva Dutt's statement, his heart became very soft. Tears flowed from his eyes and he began to tremble. In a faltering voice, he spoke as follows. Accepting Vasudeva Dutt as a great devotee, the Lord said, "Such a statement is not at all astonishing because you are the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. It appears that Lord Krishna has bestowed complete mercy upon you. There is no doubt about it. Whatever a pure devotee wants from his master, Lord Krishna doubtlessly grants, because he has no duty other than to fulfill the desire of his devotee. If you desire the deliverance of all living entities within the universe, then all of them can be delivered even without your undergoing the tribulations of sinful activity. Krishna is not incapable, for he has all potencies. Why would he induce you to suffer the sinful reactions of other living entities? Whosoever welfare you desire immediately becomes a Vaishnava, and Krishna delivers all Vaishnavas from the reactions of their past sinful activities." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here informed Vasudeva Dutt that since Krishna is all-powerful, he can immediately deliver all conditioned souls from material existence. In essence, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You desire the liberation of all kinds of living entities without discrimination. You are very anxious for their good fortune, and I say that simply by your prayer, all living entities within the universe can be liberated. You do not even have to take up the burden of their sinful activities. Thus there is no need for you to suffer for their sinful lives. Whoever receives your compassion becomes a Vaishnava immediately, and Krishna delivers all Vaishnavas from the reactions of their past sinful activities." Krishna also promises this in Bhagavad Gita 18:66. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja Aham tam sarvapapebhyo mokshishami masucha. Abandon all varieties of religion, and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. As soon as one fully surrenders to Krishna, he becomes a Vaishnava. In this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna promises to relieve his devotee from all reactions to sinful life. It is a fact that a fully surrendered Vaishnava is completely out of the range of material infection. This is to say that he does not suffer the results of his previous pious or impious actions. Unless one is freed from sinful life, one cannot become a Vaishnava. In other words, if one is a Vaishnava, his sinful life is certainly ended. According to the Padma Purana, aparabdha palam papam kutam bijam palonmukam krame naiva praliyante Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. There are different stages of dormant reactions to sinful activities to be observed in a sinful life. Sinful reactions may be just waiting to take effect. Reactions may be still further dormant, or the reactions may be in a seed-like state. In any case, all types of sinful reactions are vanquished one after another if a person engages in the devotional service of Lord Vishnu. We'll just take a few reflections or questions. Yes, Mahendra Prabhu.
Just wanted to share a short story about the background of why Raghunandana was considered the father of Mukunda. Maybe devotees know, but and he was advised by Mahaprabhu just to worship Krishna. The Kanda village is nearby Katwa, where Mahaprabhu took sannyas. So Narahari and Raghunandan and Mukunda, they all come from the Lochandas Tagore. So in his house it's still there in the descendants of Mukunda Das, it is dated that big of Gopinath. So one day he left for his duties as physician and asked, when he was small, Raghunandana, small boy, to offer, and he said, make sure that Gopinath eats it. And I do it nicely, so Gopinath had to eat it because Raghunandana was so insisting, because he saw that the food was still there. He was pleading, please eat it, my father will be angry. And then Gopinath ate it, and then his father was puzzled, and he did it again, and then he understood, oh, he has such a devotion that Gopinath eats directly when he is asked. And therefore, he said, you're my father because you invoke devotion by your activities.
Thank you. It made me think of real life, let's just say, modern examples of the way sometimes younger members of the family deliver the family. And just recently, I developed a very fortunate relationship with a family in our area, and got to know them better. Went to their house, and parents were telling me their story, how they had come to the pinnacle of success materially, and they were unhappy. And they decided they want to have children. Maybe that would make them feel more whole. And they tried everything, and they couldn't have children. So then they got 2 dogs. And just after that, they had 2 kids. And there's an older son and a younger daughter. She's 4, and her brother, I think, is 8 or 9. And they told me that they were atheists, or they said we're on the edge of being atheists, but we had no positive engagement in prayer or anything about God. They come from a Jain background. And when their daughter was born, then they named her Tulsi. And it wasn't because they were Vaishnavas. It was just something that they said they picked the name because they had heard it before and they really liked it. And their 4-year-old daughter, even before she was 4, she became immediately attracted to Krishna and the devotees. And they all, we were all sitting at the table and she was there. And the parents and the older boy, they said, she brought us to Krishna consciousness. And she's still bringing us to Krishna consciousness. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be in Krishna consciousness. She drags us. And just reminded me how people can come to Krishna consciousness because of their children, some special soul. Of course, they're special souls also, but then there's circuitous route that Krishna takes to bring people to Krishna consciousness. It just reminded me of these pastimes in Lord Chaitanya's Sangha also. Yes, Lokaram.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. There was a really nice exchange we heard about Lord Chaitanya glorifying Murari Gupta and initially instructing him to just chant Krishna's names, but then he wasn't able to do that because of his dedication to Lord Ramchandra and because he's actually Hanuman. But we see an interesting different situation in the 9th chapter when Lord Chaitanya is preaching in South India, and it's described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that all the Vaishnavas he met there, even the ones that were worshipping Lord Ramchandra, just gave it up and started chanting Hare Krishna and worshipping Krishna. Even one specific Brahman has mentioned that he was, from his birth, he was a great devotee of Lord Ram, and aside from the name of Ram, he wasn't saying anything else. But then when he met Lord Chaitanya, the name of Ram went very far away and he only was chanting Hare Krishna. And then that verse comes in that section that the name of Ram is equivalent to 1 Vishnu Sahasranam, but the name of Krishna is equivalent to 3 names of Lord Ram. So I was just interested in this contrasting situation, and I've thought about it some, but I'm curious if you might have some insight into...
What did you think about?
Hare Krishna. Well, I think there's different possible explanations, and one could be just that that was those devotees, they had a particular, let's say, destiny that Lord Chaitanya was fulfilling in visiting them and kind of helping them to attain the particular mode of worship that was natural for them. Another possible explanation is that as an incarnation of Hanuman, Murari Gupta is in a special category as a Nitya Siddha, and these other devotees, being in the stage of sadhana, maybe their bhava is a little bit more, let's say, malleable and potentially receptive to a kind of higher special mercy. Ayendra Prabhu liked to say that all living entities have the capacity to cultivate braja bhakti. That we shouldn't think that, I'm special or something, but I just got special mercy, and that's why I get to be here. So those are just some different perspectives, but I don't have any conclusive anything to say about it.
Well, they're all reasonable. None of them sounds outside of Shastra, and I concur. I don't have anything more detailed or specific than that. Mukarvind?
If I remember correctly, in that sections it was mentioned that how in the South India they were like before they were Vishnu worshipper like this, but then they later got converted into the Ram worship. I don't know if I remember correctly. That's what mentioned in that section. So there was some influence was there that the Ram worship got introduced, though they were actually originally they were.
Can you find it?
I'll try to find out. Yeah.
Yes, Gopal.
How can we, as Krishna conscious devotees and preachers imbibe the mood of Vasudev Dutt. It seems very deep and very, the word universal was mentioned in the purport, but also as little individual devotees, it seems very lofty and high to aspire to. My Guru Maharaj personally was following in the mood of Vasudev Dutt. But for us as general devotees, it seems quite a large step.
Well, in the Sri Upanishad, there's a verse, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani vanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chapmanam tatuna vijugupsite. And the word anupashyati means to systematically see all living entities as parts of the Lord. The verse says that Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani vanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chapmanam tatuna vijugupsite. Vijugupsite means that sense of envy of other living entities. Na vijugupsite means that you won't envy any living being. But how to do that? Prabhupada warns in the purport for that verse not to imitate the Mahabhagavatas. He said this is not an invitation to imitate Mahabhagavatas. But anupashyati means you should systematically cultivate that. And this is the mode or the mood of the Sankirtan movement that we systematically cultivate through Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge that we're suffering, everyone else is suffering due to being misaligned and being in ignorance. Maya mugna jivara nahi swata Krishna Gyan, jivara kripaya kola Krishna Veda Puran. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami, as we'll find in a few more chapters, that people are suffering because of ignorance, and it's not automatic that they come out. It's not swata. So therefore we should try to show mercy as much as possible. That's the duty of the Madhyama Adhikari. Ishvare tadadineshu balisheshu dusatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. The Madhyama Adhikari, the preacher, should be observant and find categories, 4 different categories. One is Krishna. We should know who Krishna is. And we should offer prema. Then we should be able to see who the devotees are. And for them, maitri. We should have appropriate friendship with the devotees. And then the Bali Sheshu means the multitude of innocent people. For them we should give kripa as much as possible. And Dvishatsu means the envious people. Prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhya. And for them you should be upeksha. We should no engagement should avoid them, because it makes them more ornery when we try to engage them. And so, how we can follow in the footsteps or cultivate systematically the mood of the Mahabhagavata is by observing these 4 categories and doing what Srila Prabhupada did, which was to propagate the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, because that's the way that they come out of ignorance. Kripaya koila, jivera kripaya koila Krishna Veda Puran. That's why Veda Vyas gave us compiled and edited the literatures and gave us them in a form that we could make them available to everybody. So kind of what you're already doing, that's very merciful, to take some suffering for the sake of the suffering conditioned souls. Tapyante lukatapena sarva prayasojana parama aradanam taddi purushasaki latmana. This is Shukadev Goswami's observation when Lord Shiva drank the ocean of poison to save all the living beings in the universe. Because when they churned the milk ocean, the first thing that came out of it was hala hala. And that's not good. And everyone was going to be annihilated. So Lord Shiva said, for the sake of all living beings, I'll drink the poison, held it in his throat turned blue, and then Shukadeva Goswami said, this is the highest method of worshipping the Lord, is tapyante, to take some austerity. Tapyante lokatap, because of loka, tapena, take some austerity for the sake of the suffering of people in the world. Parama aradhanam, that's the best kind of worship, supreme worship. Take some suffering on yourself to save people from suffering. So that's our modus operandi, and given to us perfectly by Srila Prabhupada, by his example and by his precepts. Anything from the outside People's Party? There's an unembodied arm coming up in the back. 2 unembodied arms. 3 unembodied arms.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sometimes you get in the mail offerings for a credit card that has 0 interest for the first year, and et cetera, and so many really good incentives. But then when you read the fine print, you realize, oh, you're supposed to spend $3,000 the first week of getting this credit card, and so many, and then after the first year, the credit card costs $350 a day to have, et cetera, and you think, it's really not such a good idea. So, how is it a little different? In starting from text 106, when Satyaraj Khan, he starts on 105, to tell me what's the goal of life, or who is a Vaishnav. Please let me know what a Vaishnav is and what are his common symptoms. That's 105. 106, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replies, whoever chants the holy name of Krishna just once is worshipable and is the topmost human being. And then in that very long purport and the other purports that come after that, there's so many different requirements. All you have to do is just believe that Krishna and his holy name are identical, and then you're on the topmost platform. But then it says, well, a neophyte to that platform, he has to go through this and that. And then it says, well, you have to take initiation, but you really don't have to take initiation because the holy name is more potent, but you can't make progress unless you take initiation, etc., etc., etc. So can you please help relieve all the yeah buts that are coming in my mind when it says...
Well, I was just thinking this morning when I was chanting my japa, the first time I heard the Hare Krishna mantra, as I really relished that memory, just hearing it and thinking, that is really some mysterious thing they're doing. And then I remember the first time I said Hare Krishna was to the devotees. They were walking away from the Harinām on the UC Berkeley campus. I just happened to be down there taking a music lesson, walking with my brother. And we saw them walking away from the Harinām. With one of them had a mṛdaṅga slinged over his back. And to impress my brother, I shouted out to the devotee, I said, Hare Krishna. And the guy turned around, the devotee turned around, and he looked at us with such enthusiasm. He said, Hare Krishna. And it was almost written in his countenance that, okay, boy, you blew it, because we own you now. And my brother actually looked at me and said, what did you do? And although there's fine print, the fact of the matter is it's very direct. Krishna's in his name, 100%, 110%, because as Rupa Goswami says, Vacham vachakamiti deti bhavato tvanta vibhavo vrisham tatvandanam apitishati bhakti pranayanim, that he says, okay, Krishna and his name are the same, 100%, but he goes, no, wait a minute, holy name's 110%. Because he said, Krishna, we may leave Krishna, turn our back on him, but the holy name comes after us. And the holy name is more merciful, he said. That's the difference. It's same, but as they say in Thailand, same, but different. And so the holy name, same, but different, because it is the same 100%, but then 110% means the holy name is more merciful than Krishna, because he just enters into your ear. People walking down the street, they're defenseless. When we do Harinām, we watch and we see. Even the dogs go by, and they're a little freaked out usually, because kartals are intense. But still, the holy name's going in, and we think, okay, doggy, we'll see you soon somewhere. And then the people, the looks on their faces, it's the greatest show on earth to see how the holy name is entering their ears, entering their hearts, and then rearranging everything with the first hearing of the name, wherever somebody's starting from, whatever platform, then that process, it's effective. It's always effective. And even if you can't see it at first, just like radiation, you say, yeah, I didn't feel anything. But then the symptoms will come, because Krishna's all powerful. Apana samsritim goran yannama vipashankrunan tata sadyo vimucheta yadvipeti swayambayam. There's no difference between Krishna and his name. So it's in our experience, the fine print is there for helping to understand the process, that it's how we can guide people. Really the purpose of the fine print is once people have touched the holy name and then they come for more, how do you help them come to bhajana kriya? We have to have some process for them to join. Yes, Hare Krishna is there, the process, they're purified, but still they need to catch on somewhere. They also have to have sadhu sangha. So Prabhupada created sanghas everywhere, so people who heard the holy name, then they can have a sangha. And after sangha, then you have to have some bhajana kriya. And of course, Prabhupada's system was yena tena prakarena manat Krishna naveshat. Somehow or other, get them to think of Krishna. And then later on, the rules can come. Case in point, he gave initiation the first time, and then later on, they found the rules and regulation tacked to the door. And so that's fine print, but it's already in progress. It's too late. But you have to be able to take them step by step. The next step is bhajana kriya. What are we going to do now? Don't eat donuts and don't smoke cigarettes. But do engage in Harinām, Sankirtan, and then a little bit of hearing from the Bhagavad Gita, then a little bit of deity worship, just Panchatattva to start with, and everything leading towards Anartha Nivritti, then Nishta. And so the potency is there in the holy name, and we can see it. We can also understand it from Shastra, but we feel it ourselves and we've experienced it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And we can also bring other people by just chanting the holy name. And then when appropriate, then we're able to take advantage of that fine print. It's extremely important. That purport where Jiva Goswami seems to be contradicting what Lord Chaitanya is saying. It's there. All the acharyas say the same thing. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it when he talks about Pancha Samskar and how initiation is a process, it's not an event. And that you have to, he says, there are some unusual souls, very rare, they take birth and they can just chant Hare Krishna purely their whole life. But generally, people born in this material world, especially in Kali Yuga, they're so contaminated that they need guardrails. They need Panchatraik Vidhi in order to continue to chant. So these are the doctors, the acharyas, and they say, yes, the medicine is potent, it's going to have its effect, but also there are counter, what do they call that? When you take the mixing with counter-indicated doctors? Where are all our doctors? Counter-indication. Yeah, chant Hare Krishna, but don't take this other stuff at the same time. You know, it's on that level to get people so they can come to chanting the pure name of the Lord. So your point's well taken, but it's also a fact that the holy name is effective. And when you look at all the fine print, if you boil it all down, there's just a couple of points, that's all. And that is that along with chanting Hare Krishna, you also have to live a pure life so that you can continue chanting. Otherwise, it's very difficult. If you get contaminated, then you stop chanting, and then you don't achieve the result. That was a diatribe. Sorry, Nanda. Okay. Yes. Is that...
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Oh, it's Nitya Tarangani. Okay, go ahead.
From online audience, I think it's the similar question of what you're discussing. Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, Dandavad Pranams. While distributing books, we make them chant Hare Krishna mantra once. Should they be considered Vaishnavas?
Absolutely. It's really important to distribute books, get people to chant, but then we should have an immediate place where people can come and get Sangha. We can't leave gaps in between. So if you leave a gap, then people fall through the gap, and it could be more lifetimes before they're able to take advantage of that. So we have to tighten it up and make sure that as soon as somebody shows a little bit of interest, then they should have a place where they can get Vaishnava Sangha, appropriate Sangha, so that they can make advancement. Go ahead.
Next question is from Pritipurna Madhavi Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanyaya and deliverer of most fallen souls, what is stopping us from accessing that mercy?
Well, there's probably just call it causeless unwillingness. But that can be overcome by becoming aware of the alternative, which is stay in the material world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representatives like Srila Prabhupada, they give such easy entry. We were reading in the 10th canto during Janmashtami, and Prabhupada writes in one of his purports that if someone has a slight interest in Krishna Katha, he uses phrases like that, then they're liberated and they can make great advancement in devotional service. And if somebody just chants a little bit. So we should, to take full advantage of Lord Chaitanya, could just be aware of the opportunity that we have. And if we're sincere, then Krishna will guide us from within the heart. I think inattention is another big thing, because if we just become inattentive to what we have, Lord Krishna says to Uddhava in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam that people who live by the Ganges, he says sometimes they go to other places to take bath because they think it's just the Ganges. They get familiar with it. So, just reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita and remembering how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just hearing about his personality, how affable he is, and how his devotees are already praying for everybody to deliver everybody in the universe. It's compelling, isn't it? That wasn't really an answer with a period at the end, but we'll take one more, yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Maybe in the same thread, but you already very much covered. I have a question about Vasudeva Datta's compassion and the statement of Lord Shiva. So in their case, they are liberated souls, and going through the purpose of Prabhupada, there was many statements like, first we should get ourselves this in order to distribute it. So how can we understand how much we can give in order to not imitate Lord Shiva or such great souls like Vasudeva Dutt, and to be productive on the field?
Well, if we're doing devotional service in such a way that we're getting energy and we're feeling encouraged, then it's likely that we're at the right level. If we feel like we're getting drained, then maybe we have to adjust it. Krishna says to Uddhava, Sve sve adhikarya nishta saguna parikirtita viparya tu dosha syad. That if one acts according to one's adhikari, what one's qualified for right now, that's a good quality, a guna. And viparya, opposite is true. To dosha, a fault, syad, a fault arises if one tries to do something he's not qualified for. In any case, we can judge by how we're getting strength in our practice of devotional service. And if we're not, then we have to adjust. That's what you're asking, right? How do we know if we're trying to give too much?
Yeah, like we're taking some poison anyway while we're going out. It's there, it's hard to stay in water and not become
Well, Prabhupada
wet.
really encouraged us, because there was a rumor going around early 1970s, 1973-4, that said that some people were saying because we're out in public, the book distributors, because we're shaking hands with people, we're taking their karma. And that got back to Prabhupada, and he disputed that vehemently and said that we keep ourselves purified because we're chanting Hare Krishna. And so we're not taking anybody's karma, but we're rather giving them an opportunity. But generally I find that those who have the opportunity to go out and meet people and give them an opportunity, they become more enlivened, because first of all, there's people that take it, and it's always a wonder, like, really? You're going to take this? You know what this means, right? And then there's people that don't take it, and they're as interesting as the other ones too. Like, well, why not? And you don't even stop for 1 second, you know. And both of them are fascinating. I mean, it's a fascinating experiment just to go out in public and impose your will on people and try to condescend and say, look, your life is really messed up, and I'm going to help you out here. I mean, what could be more interesting than that? And so in that interaction with people, if we hear and chant and take care of our rounds and things, then we gain so much from going out. It generally is it's energizing and gives realization more than taking away. But if we find that we're in a position where we're getting drained, as I said, then we could look for help and maybe some adjustment. So we've come to the end of our reading for today, and we made good progress. I'm very happy to report that we not only met and surpassed, but smashed our goal for reading. Yeah, and I was under the misconception there were 4 volumes, and I was thinking, man, we're going to finish early. And then I was informed that there's 5 volumes altogether. So, but we're making good progress, and we have our best minds on the project. In fact, they're not calculating by pages anymore; they're calculating by words, because that's more realistic. How dense a section is makes a big difference about how fast we're going. So, they are our statistical analysis team is giving us our quota every day based on how many words we're reading every day. And they informed me today when we finish, we'll have read 500,000 words. whatever that means to you, I don't know. Dear Srila Prabhupada. Well, it's not nothing. Dear Srila Prabhupada. Dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear Vasudeva Dutt, and all the great Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. If you so desire, please let us follow in your footsteps by taking advantage of the holy names, and please empower us to give them to other people who are being crushed by the material energy. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. So Govardhan Choir. Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo. Vanchakalpadrishcha kripasindave vachapatitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. It's Kartik Vrat, which means we offer a lamp. I don't know how it worked for you all last night, but we tried to make a interconnected chain so everyone gets the quality. We'll save a bundle on lamps. No, it's kind of nice because, anyway, I liked it. But if you don't like it, you can also go upstairs later, and much later they'll offer lamps, I think. So now we're going to reorganize a little bit by taking out the chairs, ceremonial moving of the chairs, and anybody who would like to participate can come on down.